thought, okay, let me put some of my audiobooks. I have like a million of them that I got and that seemed interesting. I thought, okay, I will like listen to it, but haven't gotten to a lot of them. And the one that was for a while in the back of my mind, and I didn't get to it yet, was one very interesting book. And I have put it on, and it was really kind of eye-opening. It was one of those things. Hey, my name is Joel, and this is my Path to Peak Performance podcast, where we talk about my journey on the way to achieve peak performance. As usual, let's start with badminton. So during the last 2 weeks, badminton has been pretty good. Both weeks, I have more or less done all of my trainings. The ones that I haven't done, it wasn't that I canceled them, but it was that either Raul was not able to come or something. And both of those weeks, while doing mainly all of the trainings, I have succeeded to do them in a way that I, let's say, don't overdo it. So what does that mean? It means that I didn't get to a point where my Achilles is hurting really much. So I felt something, but what I felt was not this like bad pain. It felt more like weakness, that I feel it was used, I feel it's tired, but it wasn't pain. And currently I can say only for the week in between, after the first of these last 2 weeks ended, when I felt okay, it needs to rest after the weekend, and I started again. This like second week has been nice. I was able to complete the whole week, and I would say that currently at the end of the week I feel better than I did at the end of the previous week even. I think that the load during this week was also like a bit lower, but the big point is that I'm succeeding to do my trainings while moderating the load by really sticking with plan kind of. Even though there were moments where I felt like really good, I want to move, I want to go all out, etc. But okay, let's stick with the plan. Let's not go crazy, because the way it was going until now, it wasn't really sustainable in my opinion. So in the morning trainings, when I'm one-on-one with Raul, we did more technical trainings with not much movement. That doesn't mean that I was just standing on a spot, but I didn't do like some heavy footwork or like fast movements. It was mostly like walking and maybe like a few small steps here and there. And from that also I get value. I feel that my shots are improving, the technique is getting better, but also my legs are not at so much stress. And then in the evenings, when we have group trainings, I was moving, yes, when we play with other people. I still didn't go like fully all out until this week, but point is that I'm able to train, I'm able to play, and I feel like I'm not prolonging the issue that I have with Achilles. I feel that it is sustainably continuing to do stuff while I'm also in addition doing exercises for this Achilles, and it should get better. There's like lots of stuff to say now, so maybe I will be like going back and forth a bit. But the bigger thing that I noticed through doing like lots of research, like before and now also recently, and after going to physiotherapist, is that I shouldn't also just stop and do nothing, to rest until I don't feel anything and then start training again. Of course, unless you have some severe issues, something is broken, then you absolutely need to stop. But with this, where I have kind of pain, but here and there something, point is that if you stop, yeah, pain maybe after a while goes away, you don't feel anything. But if you come back and start doing things again, even if it's at like a bit smaller load, you are still going to have issues because you haven't addressed the core problem that you have, the reason why you even have this pain. Whatever tendon is problematic. And at the same time, your body will not be any more used to the load that you were giving it before, so it might get even weaker, the tendons, etc. So you need to keep going, but dose it in a way that you are not overdoing it and putting more and more pressure so that you wouldn't actually get to a proper injury. While doing that, you need to figure out what is the issue, why is this problem even happening. I don't know whether I have found some like super deep connection, like lots of things that I've stumbled upon my research is how people have pain in one place and then totally different thing because of how things are connected in the body ends up being the weak link. I am currently focusing on strengthening my Achilles. I have some exercises, and even before much strengthening, I'm not doing crazy load on that. I'm focusing on doing lots of this easy, boring stuff, but with lots of repetition, or like isometric holds with longer periods of time holds to kind of bring a lot of blood flow into that tendon or around it, since tendons don't have blood vessels much like muscles. That's why they take a lot longer to heal, a lot longer to adapt, etc. So making this joint like very warm, bringing lots of blood flow should theoretically help in healing. So I was doing lots of these additional simple exercises for bringing the blood flow, and a little bit of stuff for strengthening. I'm still trying to like kind of dose it to not overdo with the strength exercises for it, because it also gets some kind of push to like, hey, like I'm training you a bit while I am playing badminton. All right. What I mentioned that I didn't go in badminton while playing full power until the end of this week. So during this week, my last training was Wednesday. On Friday, I am not going to training because I'm going for a little vacation with prolonged weekend to some spa in the nature to enjoy, rest a bit. And usually I organize these vacations to try to kind of not skip training, but here one went away. And on Wednesday evening I felt pretty good. All the trainings overall were going really well. There are some additional stuff that went well. I will talk about it as well. But due to all of these circumstances and this being kind of last training where I have decent amount of time to rest till Monday, I was putting a bit more kind of effort to play, and I would say that I was like pretty close to kind of all out. And I can say that I don't feel pain, like my Achilles is fine. The day later on, after I got like a bit cooled down, I felt that the joint is kind of like exhausted, weak. It wasn't pain, but you kind of like feel, if I'm like even like walking and like in some positions when you kind of put pressure, because I usually walk toes heel, because I do like barefoot, etc. Separate story. But then when you like put pressure kind of like on toes and in some positions where I guess that Achilles is more active, I felt this kind of like weakness that it just wants to kind of fall through, and it took some like extra effort to keep it. It might sound like really bad, but it wasn't that a critical point. It's just that you feel this weakness, and it was like really this just weakness, not really pain. Maybe like a bit of mix, but it wasn't really strong pain, like I would say less than 3 out of 10. And the next day there was like no pain at all basically. So this is pretty good. That means that if I didn't go that much all out on Wednesday, I still would have been able to do proper training on Friday, likely even with the way that I did Wednesday, I still would have done Friday probably normally without maybe going like crazy, but doing it like the usual pace. And this is already good because it means that at least it feels like I'm kind of going in the right direction. Things are definitely not fully healed and there is no issue, but I'm able to do my trainings without kind of these fluctuations where I'm like, oh, I feel good, and then like I go like play all out, and then I don't know, a week or two like after I'm like, oh, like I cannot like really, it's tough, like what's going on, etc. But it's going with continuous pace, and it's working, and I will try to like continue with this continuous pace, improve my technique, improve my game, and at the same time strengthen and recover this Helios, so that I can eventually have like stronger paced training with like more footwork and etc. The additional thing that I wanted to mention is that during last weekend, so the weekend in between of those the weeks that we are looking at, I went for training of paragliding. It's irrelevant for like other stuff here, but the point that I'm trying to get to is that during that trip to the training, because it's not like in the middle of the city, you need some space to like fly, etc. I had an hour drive to get there, and during that time I thought, okay, let me put some of my audiobooks. I have like a million of them that I got and that seems interesting. I thought, okay, I will like listen to it, but haven't gotten to a lot of them. And the one that was for a while in the back of my mind, and I didn't get to it yet, was one very interesting book, and I have put it on, and it was really kind of eye-opening. It was one of those things where the information that you see there, it's not something revolutionary. It's not something that you kind of don't know. It seems very logical and obvious, but some details have somehow connected or kind of fit really well, that they made an impact so that you look at it somehow differently or incorporate it better. And this is what happened to me here. The book that I'm talking about is The Inner Game of Tennis. I wanted to also mention the name of the author, but I forgot about it. I will leave it down in the description. And basically the author is talking about this inner, like mental game that you have with yourself while you're doing sports, both like in training and during matches. The author is describing examples through sport of tennis, because the author is in that sport. However, this is applicable to lots of other sports and outside of sport as well. I haven't still finished the whole book, but the key things that have kind of, it seems, made like some really big difference during this like second week, we will see how it continues onwards, is certain philosophy that the author has there. So to not like give you the whole book, but just that's the gist of this, at least initial philosophy of parts that I have read, is that you sort of have like two selves, two of yourself, and the author calls them self one and self two. Self one is you who wants to kind of be in control everything. And in the example for me, for badminton, for example, you're thinking, okay, I need to lock my wrist like this, I need to do this rotation, my hand needs to be there, my legs needs to be like this, and million things. It's maybe the stuff that you directly think about, correct technique and whatnot. But at the same time, you also know from whatever else you are doing, maybe, I need to win this, like why is the score like this, why I'm playing so bad, I'm usually winning this guy, or like, oh, it's going so well, can I keep it up, or whatnot, whatever. You're just constantly thinking stuff, you're not really present in the game. And this self two is the one who is fully absorbed within the game and is just present with what's going on, is observing what's going on, and key thing is not judging. Now this, to some of you, at least to me, sounded very similar to the different philosophies of meditation, at least the way that I look at it. I used to do a lot of it. For a while now, it has been on very, very low pace, but I want to get back to it as well. So it wasn't any new information, but the key thing to me was that even when I was kind of trying to incorporate some of this like focus and meditation, to be present in the moment when I was playing badminton, I was still kind of, if I hit the shot poorly, or I don't know, something doesn't go well, I was, shit, like why is it like that? Focus, 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 think about this, do that, and so forth. And the key thing in this book was that when you need to be present fully, observe what you are doing, observe your body, and not judge what happens. And the crucial point was to do that for your learning process, not just for the game. In a sense that if you're trying to, I don't know, hit the shuttle better with the racket, since we are talking about badminton here, but it applies to whatever. Instead of thinking, okay, I need to lock the wrist, I need to rotate the hand like this and whatnot, all of those details. Point is that you can think about so many details and control them perfectly. You don't even see yourself what you're doing. Yes, you can record, analyze later and whatnot. However, what you can do and how people can also learn, and there was example how children actually learn that way, and that's why they learn really fast, is that we as humans have kind of pre-born or like evolutionary whatever ability to learn and to adapt. And this learning process is something that we can use by not trying to control things. Try to just observe what we are currently doing. So if I know, okay, I want to hit shuttle like this, I can see the example of how my coach does it, how somebody else does it. I can try to visualize it. But then when I try to do it, I don't try to control anything. I don't try to squeeze the wrist or whatever. I imagine what I want the result to look like, and I try to observe myself, what I'm actually doing. Yes, I don't have a mirror. I can look later the recording, but I try to like feel, how does this thing feel? How does my hand feel when it's moving? How does my wrist feel? How does the body feel? And so forth, all of those details. And the key point is not judging any of them, not saying like, shit, this was bad, I need to do it differently, or great, this was so good, it's going so well. But really just observe and let the body adapt itself. It sounds kind of funny maybe from some perspective, but it also sounds from another very logical. And the point that author was here bringing, that there is also like lots of research about it. I haven't double checked the papers and whatnot, but to me it sounds like very logical. And one point that the author brought is that the way that kids actually learn and why they learn so fast is not, I don't know, because they are kids, but it's because they have not learned yet to try to control themselves. They go for the world just looking what's going on and just playing around, and their body is just adapting and learning on its own. And as much as this maybe sounds like bullshit to you, maybe I didn't explain it well or whatnot, maybe it even is, but I was trying to do that during the second of those 2 weeks, and it might be coincidence, but this week went really, really well. The trainings were so much better, the games that I was playing were so much better. It was just like incredible. And the great thing is that while you are in the moment, you are also not thinking about these details of like, I need to win this guy because I'm winning him over, I cannot now lose, or I don't know, whatever thoughts there are. Point is that you are enjoying more what you are doing. You are in the moment, present, having fun, and not really thinking about what not. And it's really good feeling. Let's see like how this continues going forward. But for whatever reason, this potentially made some difference for me. I will try to keep doing it, really trying to not judge, think, observe myself, and let's see where it goes. On the calisthenics side, there is not too much to say in the past 2 weeks. Since I had this sort of, not injury, but something in my right shoulder, if you remember from last episode, I was taking it a bit easy. It wasn't like anything super bad. I was able to normally play badminton. If I hanged a bit from rings, I didn't feel some pain, but I felt that there is something. So during that like first week, I kind of took it like really easy. I did some like random sets of something throughout the day. Didn't really do proper training, so give it time to rest, but still not to do like nothing, so that I wouldn't kind of go like, okay, everything is fine, let me do my like regular sets. I'll just be a bit more careful, and then like to injure myself. But let's not rush. Like 1 week will not kill me. I know that some people can easily take whatever happens as excuse not to do stuff, to avoid doing stuff, but I usually tend to overdo. So for me, kind of like stepping back is a good thing. The second week I was not doing like standard regular stuff, but I was doing more than the first week. I'm doing a lot of like different research, like looking how others are programming their training, how they incorporate things, what's better for like strength gains. There is so much material about hypertrophy and muscle building. At least I found like more of that than about actual strength training, which is what I care more about. But there is a lot of information, and lots of it is also conflicting. Some of it is not, and then I kind of get stuck sometimes in this like perfectionism. I want to find like the perfect, most optimal thing instead of just like going there, playing around with stuff. But I try to do at least something, so I'm not like stuck doing nothing while I'm trying to create a perfect program for myself. And a big thing I wanted to incorporate also is like add some like mobility, flexibility stuff, so that my body is mobile. It helps with less injuries and so forth, and also like add in more of those general conditioning for all of the joints, so that I wouldn't get to having problems with other joints that maybe currently are not problematic, but I don't want them to get into the state where my Achilles currently is. So I'm still looking around at lots of different things, exercises, trying to learn what others are doing, understand why are they doing it. At the same time, I also see like, okay, this guy seems cool, he has some program, maybe I can just take that so that I can start with something and I can adjust later. But then like I look also like the reviews, and in the reviews they're mentioning other guys, and it's endless pit hole. So still doing like lots of looking around different options. If you have some suggestions, feel free to put down in the comments. But yeah, I'm doing something. So this like last 2 weeks regarding calisthenics were easier than usual, partially because of this like shoulder that I didn't want to kind of overdo, partially that I did also felt somehow like a bit more exhausted in the upper body. I'm not sure why. It feels like fine now, but during the like first week it was a bit, and beginning of second, and partially because of trying to kind of like adjust my training program and not having like a clear plan how this will look like. So this was also a bit influencing the situation. But other than that, I feel that things are moving. I can step up a bit now, like the calisthenics training again. But I haven't like been not doing anything for the past 2 weeks, and yeah, so I'm still there. And this is in short it. There is not too much philosophy today. Biggest topic kind of that I spent probably time on was this book, The Inner Game of Tennis. I really recommend. It seems like a great book. I still have some part of it to go through, and I'm very kind of looking forward to what I can find there. From non-badminton calisthenics things, there is this paragliding that I mentioned. So for a while I was like interested in some kind of flying stuff, and this seemed like relatively simple and easy to start with thing to kind of play around. So I finally went did the step to try it. So to try it means I'm not like flying yet. You first have 12-ish hours of ground training where you're not flying anywhere yet, and then you start having your first flights, and you have this kind of like height, or I don't know how to even call it. The official name is canopy, but who is not in that, you might not know what canopy is. But this kind of parachute thing that kind of keeps the air and can you can fly with. But when you are on the ground, this can't really lift you. At least that's what they claim there, that wind needs to be really strong so that you would be able to do this kind of like hops, like you are on the moon, and that you're slowly falling down. But with these winds, which were feeling pretty strong when I did this ground training, still no way that this lifts me up. It does elevate some weight from you, so you are kind of like a bit on your toes and you feel lighter, but it's not lifting you even close. But yeah, so for those trainings you kind of learn how to lift this thing and walk around with it, control it, so that that canopy or parachute, whatever, is in place, because this is the thing that you will control when you are actually flying. So currently just ground training. It was first session was pretty fun. I also got to see how they actually fly, because some of the people who have done the training before, they had some flying sessions as well. What you can usually do is when you lift this canopy up and have some wind, you can jump down from some higher hill mountain and fly down. But since we don't have that much of that in Estonia, then what people do here is that they hook you up to a car which drives off and is pulling you, and then you are going up in the air. It works really surprisingly well. I did not imagine that it will work that well, but as soon as car starts moving, basically you don't make a single step, you are already in the air. And after people unhook themselves from the car, they can fly pretty long around, and this flying is basically just very slowly falling down towards the ground. You don't have any engines or anything on you. It's free flight. You just have this canopy, and you can navigate left, right, rotate yourself around, but you're basically just constantly falling to the ground, but it's just going slowly. From one perspective, it seems really scary to just, it's so simple, there is no special something. If you do things go to the plane to fly somewhere, you have this whole crazy procedures of boarding, pre-checking this safety messages and whatnot, even though it's pretty standard thing to do. And then here it's just you hook yourself up, car takes you, and you are up in the air on your own, and you fly. And it seems crazy and scary, but it also seems very interesting and cool. And I don't know whether I will long-term continue playing with this kind of stuff. I'm not that much for some crazy adrenaline, but it does seem really interesting, and I think I at least want to try this first 1-2 flights to see how it feels, and then we can see if I continue. And overall idea how I even got to it was that I actually tried this paragliding, but with a motor on my back. So that one is then called paramotoring. At least I don't know, that's how I found the words. I don't know what is else that usually this called. But yeah, they basically said that you don't start learning with this engine. You first do this ground training, then you have like many flights which are free flights where you don't have any motor on you, and then eventually you can talk about potentially starting to learn how to put this thing on your back. So let's see if I get there. But as an idea, it seems like really cool because this thing is relatively small compared to like a plane. Yeah, today it's not that big of a deal to get this like basic pilot license. I mean, it still takes time and some money, but it's not something out of this world that you cannot do. But plane takes a lot more maintenance. Plane needs to be in some, I don't know, airport or whatever. It needs lots of space to take off. This thing doesn't need like basically any space. You can put it in your car, you can drive around, get somewhere. Oh, I feel like flying a bit, just pop it on and you can fly. And this seems like super cool. So yeah, anyway, this was like some random topic on a side from regular badminton calisthenics things. And I think we can end for today. So thank you for listening, enjoy your trainings, and see you again in 2 weeks.